My name's Jay. I'm the coffee director for Compa Coffee Roasters. Welcome to our podcast here in our resident cafe of Hawthorne Coffee. We're joined by the GM of Hawthorne Coffee, Trevor. Welcome. We've worked together for 3 years now. Recently, you've come out with your take on our yerba mate, originally a ginger, lemon, honey soda, including loose leaf yerba mate. Why did you choose to add lavender to it?
Honestly, ever since before I started working here at Hawthorne, as a customer, I was coming here pretty much once a week at least. Always getting the lavender thyme, so I really just liked the lavender thyme syrup. I thought that kind of that floral aspect would go really well with it, but even for months before that, I just fell in love with the yerba. It's one of those two where, it tastes really good, but I think it was one of our coworkers that said it also has honey and ginger and lemon, which it's just all healthy, good for you stuff, and I got bad joints.
Okay.
Got bad knees, so drinking one of these helps pretty much with stuff like that. Plus, tastes really good. So
anti-inflammatory soda.
Yeah. So as soon as he pretty much asked me what's your drink that you kind of want to market, it's I drink one of these every single day. So
right. This did come up because we were doing kind of an employee of the month. Your ideal drink to represent your employee of the month. I think you nailed it, man. I think.
Well, why do you want to do the employee of the month?
Man, why do I want to feature an employee of the month on our shop's Instagram? That is a good question. I think that customers want to connect with baristas. I think customers want to connect with the staff. I think sometimes our space being on bar is not always the best time or place to do that. I think giving a few facts about yourself, whether it be a favorite band or maybe a sports team you like, creates a connection with the customer. Maybe they didn't know that about you, or maybe they'll come in to talk to you about that. And it's something that you like, very niche, very specific. I think people like putting a face to the name. And even though we were using masks in some of those photos, I think just simply posting your name alone gives people a better connection. And obviously that's not to say I think that every shop in the city doesn't connect with their customers the way that possibly we do, or the way that our staff literally personally connects with people. The fact that most of our staff lives in this neighborhood kind of just goes to show that most of our staff, when we go to the gas stations, when we go to the grocery stores, we bump into our regulars. When we go to the dog park, we see our regulars. And that kind of not only checks you on being that good person, but it also makes you want to bridge that connection, because you know that when you're here at work, you're going to see them at 6 a.m. and when you get off work at 2 p.m., you're going to see them walking down the street, and that's kind of a nice thing. And I kind of wanted to bridge that connection.
Well, and I think kind of what you brought up too is the cool thing about that connection between customers is, I don't know, even having that employee of the month thing. I remember seeing a lot of the comments too, where some people where it's shout out Trevor, whatever, stuff like this. And I didn't even know your name until you did that employee of the month thing. And you have a lot of the times where customers come in and it's just I know you by your drink, by your car, stuff like this. I'll have your order ready before you're even up there, but I might not know your name.
Right.
And it's one of those it's cool to know your name. It's cool to be hey, what's up? How's it going? But almost I find it's almost kind of cool to not.
Yeah.
To almost sit there and just be have that connection, that almost ambiguity where it's I don't need to know everything about you, but when it comes to here, when it comes to that comfort, that place where you want to just have that latte, want to go in, experience that away from your daily whatever, it doesn't matter, even if you're just getting coffee. It's kind of nice. You feel seen.
The relationship, I think ambiguous is a great word. Where when we go to the bar and we just go to order a drink at the bar and we look up and the bartender's one of our regulars, and instantly we don't know their name, but we're just whoa, almond cappuccino? Yeah. And it's that is a human being with a whole name and a life and everything. But our ambiguous relationship leads us to just referencing them as almond cappuccino, but the relationship feels warm. And it feels like we know each other and not on anything too intimate. Other than like I see you when you're fucking asleep still, which a lot of people don't, and I respect that about a lot of people.
Yeah. Which I don't know. There's been so many other like places too where it's like you do have that just morning, just like, hey, can I get my coffee? Can I do this? Can I do this? Or can I get this? Can I get that? And it's like, you know what? Like, yeah, for sure. It's literally my job. But I feel like in here, and like you'll hear, I don't know, people that are actually passionate and happy about their job, it does get like that. Like, yeah, here you go, here's that. But like you're happy for those like teachable moments of like, oh, like, you know, like the latte is actually this, or like actually this, and like actually having that human connection instead of just like, hey, can I get my coffee? It's like, you know,
for sure.
You know?
And to kind of circle back to the point too, I think that part of that post that because to be completely transparent, I also run the social media for not only the coffee roasting company, but the cafe. So I try to make it a little more intimate of a social media, and not just like, buy our syrups, buy our coffee. So when I asked employees, Trevor was probably the third one, something like that, to do the post. I asked them all to create a specialty drink so that customers, when they came in, that it would breed conversation of why do you get this drink, much like we're doing right now. But I wanted customers to come in and say, why did you add lavender to the yerba? Why do you want an iced Americano short? Why do you choose almond milk in your cappuccino? Whatever your barista, whatever the staff choice was, they were to have a reason behind it. In which case your lavender yerba sold really well.
It's off the menu, and still people
are still asking for it?
Still on the menu, also.
Which is a great like byproduct. Definitely, I was hoping that everybody's ideal drink was not just like drip coffee. Like, do something fucking creative. Do something that we could like talk about and upsell. Like, even if you weren't here, I wanted people to come in and be like, hey, I saw on the Instagram Trevor likes his, I don't know Trevor, and he's not here right now, but like, he said he wants lavender in his yerba. What's up with that? And then like we could talk about that because we fucking know you, and there's 5 of us that work here, and we're all intimate enough with each other that we could like understand why you would like that. So let's talk about before Hawthorne. Before Hawthorne, you've worked mom and pop before, but what I really want to talk about is your experience at a local shop called Better Buzz. For lack of better terms, Better Buzz has been called a San Diego Starbucks. It's drive-through focused, ice blended. They do espresso. They have pour-overs, but it's corporate feeling, for, again, lack of better terms. They're not known for their specialty coffee side, but they are known for a lot of, like I said, ice blended drinks and acai bowls.
Well, as far as coffee, they're organic. It's one of those things where, I don't know, you put a label on it, you hope to sell it, but as far as, I don't know. Like you said, you put it pretty well. It's a lot more corporate focused. Yeah.
If there was one thing that you could think about in your entire experience there, what was one thing that you liked specifically about working there?
Honestly, people. Yeah, I've met a lot of like some of my closest friends, a lot of people I've lived with, like roommates and stuff like that. People that I still talk to this day.
Were your coworkers?
Yeah, coworkers. Yeah. Absolutely. People that it was one of those just kind of like thick and thin. Like you have like the really good times, you have the really bad times. You're sitting there like 2 people dealing with lines in the drive-through, lines out the door, and just like kind of give each other a look of like, we're gonna get through this, you know. And I don't know, it definitely had its really good times where it didn't feel it felt a lot more fun to be around those people and like hang out with them than necessarily serve like really good coffee. And I felt like that was a lot more because there was a lot more ambiguity. There was a lot more just like people don't know your name. People come up and it's a lot more of that corporate and Starbucks thing where can I just get this? Can I just get that? Which you do have your regulars. There's so many awesome, amazing people that I met at Point Loma that were just, or not Point Loma, but at Better Buzz. great people, great customers, but you know, it was a drive-through. It was fast food that we had coffee, and yeah, like I said, the people I worked with were amazing.
Do you feel as though, because in my opinion, these businesses breed a consumer-focused approach? It's very consumer-focused in the sense of like we're making it as easy for the consumer to come and buy their specialized product, meaning that add-ons are cheap and they are encouraged. Drive-throughs are encouraged. Turn and burn tickets. Almost a lack of intimacy isn't encouraged, but it's a byproduct of it. Do you notice a different customer because, and obviously one could take in a different neighborhood and maybe a different cost, like our drip coffee cost versus their drip coffee cost. That has to be considered in a customer demographic, of course. But other than that, because of drive-through, because of ice blended, because of whatever, did you notice a different customer?
Like different customer base? I think it's a lot more. I don't want to knock anybody because obviously like coffee is a coffee, and like I used to go to 7-Eleven and like sometimes that'll still hit and it's amazing. Sometimes Better Buzz is still awesome. Like the buzzes, if you want something sugary, sweet, that'll like give you.
I'm going to be totally transparent. I must have bought Better Buzz coffee a week ago.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
It's good coffee.
I buy it as like a dessert treat, and I love it.
As far as kind of what you talked about with like that intimacy stuff like that. I think that the intimacy is there and they really try to have it there, and that is a lot of like what they teach. But I remember for a little bit there being this kind of thing that they wanted us to say like, thanks for getting buzzed with us, which they don't do. I don't think they do. I kind of told them like, hey, don't do that. That's right. It really takes away from that human-to-human connection where it's like, oh, you really are just kind of this person that has to say the script. Nobody really wants to deal with that. Like, yeah, you're like, oh, do you want this hot? Do you want this iced? Obviously, you have to say that stuff. But like the thanks for getting, I don't know. I hate the scripts and stuff like that. And that really breeds this kind of brand forward mentality where people really want that like loyalty, where they have like that gift card, that promotion card where it's like every Wednesday I get an ad shot, every this I get this, oh I get half off on this jacket, and you have this brand that you're really pushing, and they have a really big brand, they have multiple stores, and they have found a way to build it, but it's more on people that want to be that loyal customer. They want to be that like, I'm here every single day, I'm in the drive-thru, thank you guys, but it's not that intimate connection of like, oh, I know Jay, I know Trevor, like I see them like every single day, like, oh, how's your day going, how's this? It's like, oh, like shout out to Better Buzz, like tagging Better Buzz, stuff like that. And
that makes sense.
I don't know if that translates to customer base because like we just said, you and I both still go there, but as far as regulars, I don't know. Like any one of our regulars, I wouldn't doubt would be like, yeah, I go to Better Buzz occasionally. Like it's absolutely no knock, but nobody that, I don't know. I don't think the people that are coming to a specialty coffee shop that are willing to wait, willing to talk to that barista about, oh, how are you steaming my milk today? Like, how did you do this? Like the ones that are doing that aren't the ones that want like fast coffee, sitting like, why is my cappuccino taking so long? Like, I don't know.
I just noticed in the sense of like, maybe not customer A versus customer B, but as an employee, you notice day in, day out, 100 tickets this Saturday versus 100 tickets next Saturday. You can kind of get like a heartbeat on your demographic. And some of us worked in like restaurants, and you work with hungry people, and you notice like, man, when I work the Friday night rushes, the wait times are longer on both me being able to take the order and the order coming out, and we notice that the customers are hungrier, and therefore we have a lot of like more dickhead moments, and we have shit like that, versus like the Wednesday afternoon we're just churning out tickets with ease, and everybody's super happy, and it's like a very easy environment. Absolutely. And people can kind of notice those environments. Industry v industry, alcohol v coffee, there's those differences that are fucking massive.
Yeah.
A lot of Starbucks employees will notice the entitlement theory of Starbucks of let me talk to your manager and getting a free gift card every time versus coming to a place like this where like when they talk to the manager, you fucking turn around and you're like, I'm back. Hello. You know? Yeah. You've been speaking with the manager.
Well, and kind of like what you said too, as far as like that busyness and stuff like that, when it was busy there, it absolutely sucked. Like, I don't know, like, there were just so many different things to do. Like, it was horrible. Like, the good times were when it was slow. When it was like, oh, I just don't really have this much to do. And I feel like the very different thing is when I'm here, it's the exact opposite. You know, when it's slow, I hate it. It's like, where is everybody? Like, what's going on? Nothing's happening. And then when it's busy, it's like, turn up the music. Like, let's get fucking cranking. Like, let's get going. And it's party.
Right. Earlier today, we were talking about like simple automation of both machine and barista, and working at Better Best specifically. You were talking about automation of the grinder had a puck press in it, and
press a button, it was ready, and then you put it in the machine, press a button, it was ready.
And I think every shop has their own level of automation that they're willing to reach. You know, I bet there's a shop out there that fucking hand grinds coffee and only does manual pour-overs, you know? I personally believe just because we have one shop and we have 7 employees and we only do so much volume, that a certain level of automation defeats the intimacy that comes with coffee. You know, to be I don't even know what a comparison would be. It would be ignorant for me to say, like a mechanic just working on Priuses, you know? It's like, I don't even know. But,
well, it's a chef, you know? It's like, hey, like, here's a steak that I'm going to cook for you versus freaking In-N-Out. I'm flipping 100 burgers, you know?
Right.
Those In-N-Out burgers are probably going to taste freaking good, but, like, that steak was cooked for me.
Right,
you know?
right. Also, like, in just the sense of puck press, and like today we were teaching espresso theory and we were teaching puck preparation, and we were teaching that at our shop we take so many steps to ensure that channeling doesn't happen, from making sure our grinder is cleared of any sort of previous grind sizes and making sure it's purged and ready to go, making sure that everything's dry, rinsed and dry, making sure that everything is, our distributor's right, our tamper's right, we're tamping good and evenly, we're loading it correctly, and we're pre-infusing, and we're watching our shots with a naked portafilter, and everything's timed and weighed from dose, yield, contact time, obviously, of the espresso shot, everything. And some shops believe in a little bit more automation. Maybe some shops get a puck press. Maybe some shops get an automatic distributor. Maybe some shops get a milk.
Some people have Bluetooth.
Some people fucking have Bluetooth, man.
Some people have Bluetooth, man.
Is there any point that you would like to see us become more automated? Anything in the bar flow that you can think of right now where you would like to see us move a step away from the manual brew that we're doing right now? Maybe we drop pour-overs. Maybe, I like that, good answer. Maybe we get a puck press. Because a positive of the puck press, obviously, is tamping, in the sense of my tamp v your tamp v John v Raven.
Obviously there are probably other like tamping grinders that work better, but as far as my experience with this one specifically, it still left different ridges, it still left like not a perfect puck. There was still channeling with it, obviously, where channeling's gonna happen.
Okay, so given a puck press that was really consistent and worth it, that step in automation, you could see us doing that? Because I think for me, that's the only one where I could be like, okay, we would still dose.
I think we're busy enough for it. Like if it was to the point where we have like lines out the door, which by all means that would be amazing. If we had lines out the door, I think we could. But honestly, I do kind of like. I absolutely hate, like, we've had so much conversation of how much we hate the idea of you make me the best cappuccino or like stuff like that, because we want every single barista on our staff to have the best standards to where if somebody comes in and orders a cappuccino, it's just as good as mine, just as good as his, just as good as anybody's. That being said, we have openers, we have the people that open and taste their own espresso. We want them to have confidence in tasting that espresso and having their own palate and having their own nuances and their own things that they like. So I kind of like the idea of each person camping and having their own personality added to it.
Word.
So if like you see somebody on bar, you know you're gonna get an amazing fire shot, but it might taste a little different from my shot than your shot than somebody else's. Part of me would like that consistency, but part of me does really like that because it is that intimate setting. You know, we don't have 100 people that work here. We have 7 people, 4 people pulling shots.
Part of me could see, okay, uniqueness, barista, love it, 100%. Would the puck press change my shot versus your shot? Maybe not. I liked the part that you said, though, just to rewind to that. We were having conversations for a while that it's somewhat of an insult when a customer comes in. It's only an insult to management.
Yeah, that's true.
When a customer comes in and they say, "You make me the best cappuccinos. I'm so happy you're working because now I can get my cappuccino from you, and every time I come here and I get the cappuccinos when you're not working, they're just not as good." Let me explain why that is such a backhanded insult to management.
That barista, that's amazing that
Dog,
they're able
like,
to give them that.
cool.
The first thing that we're going to ask is like, hey, what are you doing differently, if anything, that like you're giving them something back? Because maybe we all need to get our standards up, something like that.
Well, with all due respect, what I started doing,
that's my first thought.
I started asking the customer what was so different about my cappuccino versus the last one.
Actually, because it could just be a customer trying to be
It could be, but also like maybe it's not. Let's trust their judgment. Let's say that they tasted something that was so memorable that they sipped it and they were like, "Holy fuck, I usually get an almond milk cappuccino and this is for sure burnt almond milk." We all know the fucking taste. We've been in this. If you've been in this industry for 6 years, you remember when almond milk first became a thing, and everybody was burning almond milk, and everywhere you went, you got burnt almond milk. It was just how the industry was. It was so fucking weird, but I can still taste the fucking taste, and that's palpable. And I think that if a customer came in today and got a cappuccino from you and it was fucking fantastic, as it should be, and they came in tomorrow and they got the same cappuccino and the milk was burnt from me, they come in the third day and they tell you, "Thank God you're working, that last cappuccino from that last guy fucking sucked ass," and you were like, "Okay, why?" And they were able to tell you, "I don't know, man, it could be me, but my milk tasted burnt." To be able to come back to me with not "my cappuccinos are better than yours," but to be like, "Hey man, I heard from a customer that you specifically burned your milk, so maybe we could talk about that."
It's not even burnt milk, but like foam.
Whatever.
More or less foam, something. It was more or less sweet, and it's like, hey, by the way, I added a little bit more sweet because they said they like their drink sweet, and it's like,
yeah,
I didn't mess up. You did something a little bit extra.
For sure.
Like, for sure.
Admittedly, I've done it maybe 3 times now, and a customer has yet to tell me a specific reason why the drinks were different. Every time I've been like,
well, she gets upset too.
My whole thing was, okay, when a customer came up to me, in this specific instance, we'll say, this literally happened. Customer came up to me, said, "Oh my God, thank God you're here. My drink, finally you're here because when you make my drink, it's so much better." And I said, "What was wrong with the last time you got your drink? I train the people here, what was wrong?" "Oh, well, nothing was wrong necessarily. I just think it's better when you make it." And so now I'm like reading the room and I'm able to tell that customer, and I had to tell her like, "Hey, maybe that's a cool compliment to like the first time barista," which like also no it's not, but like, you just happen to say it to the coffee director that trains the entire fucking staff here on how to make those drinks. So when you said that everybody else doesn't make it as good, that's kind of a knock. I could care, like I care about that shandy in particular. obviously. Do I care about that shandy as much as I care about knowing that when I'm not at the shop, all of the staff is able to make all of the drinks as good as I can, if not better so? Because these are ratios. It's not about being as good as me. There's no as good. It's not that if you follow the simple recipe, the drink is as good as the drink is supposed to be. It's not Jay's shandy versus Trevor's shandy. And I love that the consumer would be
It wasn't an espresso.
The consumer feels so attached to us as a staff that they see Jay's shandy. Yeah. They don't see the Compa shandy. Much like earlier you said, people love the buzz. Yeah. People don't think of Trevor's coffee. People don't think of Trevor's fucking cappuccino. They think of a buzzacino. I got fucking buzz today, you know? And like, here we have the exact opposite issue where people are saying, I'm not getting Jay's shandy today. It's not going to be as good. Fuck. And like, they're not thinking about the Compa shandy. Which is an interesting problem to look at solving. But through that conversation, that she hasn't said, respect to, you know who you are if you're listening to this, and respect for you not saying anything else in that genre.
And also thank you for listening.
And I'm sorry. And I'm sorry if I came off strong when I said that.
No, I mean, it's not even that.
Because
the best thing, she meant it as nothing but a compliment.
Right.
We appreciate every single compliment, but we do also want to kind of get it out there that it is one of those like unknown backhanded compliments, you know, where it's like if you tell somebody, like if you tell a chef, like, oh, you did really good this time, the first thought in their head is like, I fucked up every single other time. And it's like, thank you. Like, I'm really glad I could give it to you this time, but like, I want to have the best experience for you every single time, to where it's not like it's not such a big deal.
I think selfishly, I want to be a better trainer before I want to be a better barista. So when she complimented me being a barista and also kind of insulted my training abilities, all I heard in my fragile whatever was, I'm not a good enough trainer. And since that's what I'm looking to do next, I immediately got kind of self-conscious in my, oh fuck, I need to fucking train better.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like if it's like a first-time barista, they're sitting there like, oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Right. And now that I'm whatever coffee director, but like also trying to train a staff so that we can open more stores, and at those stores have the staff that are serving the fucking Compa shandy, which is dope. This girl comes here on Wednesday, the fucking 7th of fucking February, and gets a shandy. She should come here in the middle of May, and again in July, and again in September, and fucking get the same awesome shandy every time, whether it's me or you or John or Raven or fucking somebody we haven't even hired yet, whether it's here or at our next shop. That kind of consistency is definitely more what I'm looking for. But speaking of management, you became GM a while back. What's it been?
Almost a year ago. It was about March.
Yeah, a year makes sense. COVID kind of brought that on, but was that something that you kind of wanted from the jump when you originally got hired here?
I've kind of had like this weird sort of, I don't know, roller coaster with every like coffee job I've had so far. Like the first coffee shop I was at, Cafe Madeline, basically worked there for a year. First 6 months I was barista. Second 6 months I was store manager. I don't know if she'll ever give me that title, but I was manager. Started doing management work, scheduling, stuff like that. And I kind of didn't like it as much. I felt like I hadn't learned as much as a barista yet. And I felt like I still hadn't gotten that full base knowledge yet to be able to do more with it. Then I ended up moving to Better Buzz, which I felt like the best thing that I got from Better Buzz, two best things that I got from Better Buzz was a really good base coffee knowledge as far as shots should be timed.
Nice.
Things should be cleaned properly.
Nice.
Just having the idea of extraction, things going longer, shorter, not necessarily having like a good explanation, but just an idea. Hey, a 60-second shot isn't that good. Hey, a 5 5-second shot, not that good.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
But that, and also like just bar flow. Like I have not ever had to stress on any sort of like rush or tickets, because I have had maybe like 30 cups lined up. Because for Better Buzz, when you get a cup, it's not like a ticket. It's not like, oh, I have to get this ready. Like, it is an empty cup, a hot or iced one, lined up all the way down the line, like 30, 40 cups. And you're sitting there just like taking orders on a headset, just like, all right, I guess I just have to deal with this. So anytime I get like 6 drinks, that is absolutely nothing.
Right.
But those are the best things that I've learned. And then, what was the original question translating into?
Was that something did you want to be a GM when you got hired
so
here?
When I was at Better Buzz, like first half of my working there, it was being a barista. Started going into management, stopped really liking it. I really wanted to be more of that intimate kind of talking to people and serving them coffee. Hey, how's your day? And actually being able to talk to them about their day. That's when I luckily found Hawthorne. Got hired here, was able to actually make that transition into being what I consider, I don't want to say like third wave barista, like that is what it is.
That is what it is.
But
respectfully to everybody else.
Respectfully, but I just don't want to say like real barista, you know. But
that's respectful. Yeah.
Respectfully.
Good job. Yeah.
Well, now it's not.
Yeah, now it's respectful.
But no, and now I feel like even when I did make that transition into management, into general manager, I do still have the daily tasks of being able to talk to the customers and like see how their day is, and nothing about that has changed. I've just also done scheduling, also done inventory, but I felt like when I started moving up in both Cafe Madeline and Better Buzz, I was having less of that customer interaction, and personally for me, I really do like that's honestly why I do. Like, I've fallen in love with customer service, and like this industry is being able to see those regulars and being able to see those people and talk to them and build those relationships and connections with almost complete strangers.
So do you feel like if this GM position, originally when you accepted it, took you away from customer service and just put you scheduling, inventory, boom, 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 and like had you doing all the paperwork, you'd be burnt out on being passionate about it and all these things? But because you were able to keep a position that kept you able to be customer focused, and you're able to care about the employees and have that back of house intimacy with the employees and the staff, and then you're also able to still connect with customers and still able to do GM stuff like inventory scheduling. I feel like because you're able to do all those things, you're able to last longer at it and feel.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's also one of those things too where I don't know, when I was at Better Buzz too, it was pretty much one of the only like corporate jobs I've ever worked at that has just division of labor, where it's like, oh, you have like complaint, whatever, like you talk to somebody, they talk to somebody, they talk to somebody. I just really love and appreciate the intimacy here, to where anybody has an issue, they talk to me, they talk to the owner, they talk to anybody, and it's not, oh, I'll get back to you, do this. It's like, no, well, let's figure this out, let's handle this. And I feel like you can't really, I don't want to say like manage people, because I don't manage anybody here. Like, I work with everybody here, which is awesome. Like, that's what I think it should be. I don't have to manage anybody. I don't have to tell people what to do. We're all working together. Right. I just put out schedules and inventory sometimes too, you know? So.
Well, part of that is also with our hiring process is like, I wouldn't call it necessarily thorough, but
it's pretty thorough.
It's thorough in the sense of like, you need to show the fuck up and be professional, and like, I feel personally, to me, I just don't think we're asking much. Maybe it's because I've worked in gnarlier industries in the past that demanded I show up clean shaven and hair and outfit, all this, and it's 7 a.m. and I gotta be, well, yes sir, no sir, all this. And now that we're here, we're not asking for an extensive resume. We're not asking for all these things. It's anybody, respectfully, the last two, she sent her resume over email and on the website. She called once, and then she showed up with a smile on her face, and she was halfway there already. And it's those kind of things that, like, when we talk to them and we ask these kind of, hey, are you a fucking adult kind of thing, you know? Or do you understand that showing up to work on time is important? Do you understand that like you can't just come to work talking shit about your coworkers and talking shit about your employees and like weeding out those kind of things because we've been here for years now? Weeding out those kinds of things, I think, makes it easier for us in the long run as management because we trust our staff to be competent, mature, and professional.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too, it's like me personally, I've gone through so many interview questions and stuff like that where it's like, where do you see yourself, all this, and it's kind of stupid bullshit questions, and like so many times you sit there like, how do I answer this? And you're almost just like, I just want to answer this to where they're going to give me a job. And
why do you want to work here?
Exactly. It's because I want a job, I want money. It's
because I'm fucking hungry. Like,
but you don't, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to do the whole cliche, you just get a vibe from people sort of thing, but like...
No, there's something to that.
I feel like because we because we interact with so many people on a daily basis, we kind of get an knack for people and the way they act, the way they like talk and stuff like that, and I feel like we can pick up on bullshit pretty quickly. If a customer comes in and is just saying, oh, I did this, all this, and it's almost like, dude, why are you trying to impress me? I'm making you coffee. Like, almost it's like, cool, whatever. Like, just seeing through, just understanding. Also, too, like, we deal with so many people. That's also,
Do you think between baristas, bartenders, and you could say to a certain degree wait staff, has a certain degree of, like, social competency to where, like, we know... like opinions are here and there and being under the influences here and there, but like we know how to act when we go out in person, and also we can somewhat, if we have that importance of like a job interview or something like that, like we kind of have experience with like judging that person, seeing socially how they may act. Do you think that we have a higher degree of social competency?
I wouldn't say like higher degree of social competency. I think it's definitely more social awareness. I think it's more just interacting with so many different people, understanding that, like, as stupid as it sounds, we're all out here, you know, like we are all just people. Everybody has just different opinions and beliefs.
Right.
But I think that it is one of those things where you have people that come in that ask certain questions or do certain things, and you walk away and you're like, that person worked in customer service at some point. Right. And it's always that little, not badge of honor, but you can tell people that go to a restaurant, stack their plates, people that like say please and thank you and just treat like customer service employees as humans. It's like, oh, you've probably been on the other end. And it's not necessarily like more competent, because I've met a lot of people in customer service that are not socially competent.
Right. I think I should check myself on that and realize that respect is not linear. Respect is not, you are only so respectful. What respect looks like to everybody is different. I think that like you could go that like traditional Italian American like be respectful kind of thing, and then you could look at like very traditional Muslim teaching and what respect looks like to them, and then you would look like fucking into whatever the fuck has been coming in here, and respect looks different to everybody, and I think that that's
respect is nice.
Respect is nice. Trying to be respectful is noticeable though.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I like to see, and that's what I think we look for in job interviews.
Circling back to that one lady, we appreciate her for trying to be nice and courteous and give us compliments.
Hey, thanks for trying to compliment my shandies, ma'am. Nonetheless, I would like you to compliment my everybody's shandies.
It's a communist shandy here.
So to kind of we're a collective shandy. So to kind of close this whole thing out, you're now GM of our one cafe. Is this what you want to do for the future? Like, with no pressure on a job interview, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, kind of circling back to what you were saying again about, like, management and, like, why I'm able to be here and, like, enjoy it as a manager instead of just being a barista. Eventually, I do want to have my own cafe. That is kind of what this is building up to. I feel like I've got more of the base knowledge for, like, learning coffee. This is more like management. I'm going to own owner and figuring out more stuff like inventory, scheduling, staffing. I feel like I'm learning a lot there, which is incredible. But it just, like I said too, when I do have my own place, even like props to our owner too, like Dylan, like seeing him come in on the weekends too, ready to work, something happens and he's there ready to take an order. Like I've worked for places where I've had owners or managers like kind of looking around just like, is somebody gonna help this person? And it's like, dude, like this is your business. Like why don't you hop on and help them, you know? Like, and I couldn't see myself owning a cafe where I'm not working at least 5 days out of the week.
Right.
To the point where it's like, if I don't know, it's not that I wouldn't trust my staff or anything like that, or like I would hire properly, but it's just like, I want it to be my thing. I want it to be hands-on. I want it to be, I don't know, just a lot more my own thing instead of other people's. But eventually I do want to have my own cafe, and I feel like I'm learning a lot here. We're looking for other locations.
Right.
So that's going to be a lot of lessons.
I mean, respect, man. Some people just have their skin in the game with their money. Some people have their skin in the game with their money, and they fucking put the work into, you know?
Yeah.
I have also a mutual respect for that. Shouts out to Dylan, man.
Yeah.
Fucking open the shop. Dylan and Kevin opened the shop with their own money, their own...
Giving us jobs.
That's right. Yeah, and also, I've been working here for over 5 years, man. Thank you for paying my rent and giving me a job and opportunities.
Yeah.
And with that being said, thank you for listening to the Compa Coffee Roasters podcast. You can check us out on compacoffeeroasters.com. All of our coffee is available there. It's also available on our Instagram at Compa Coffee Roasters and on our YouTube channel, Compa Coffee Roasters. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one.